Bill Ford from Ford says that electric vehicles are really just about politics. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans, you're watching the Electric Viking, and of course I don't agree with this at all. I think it's nonsense. I think it's what you say when you feel like you're losing. Does Ford feel like it's losing? Of course it does. I mean, it said it would have a 500,000 EV run rate by the end of this year. It's nowhere near that. It's at around 80,000 run rate at the moment. It's shut down one of its production lines for the F-150 Lightning. Mustang Mach-E demand is nowhere near what they hoped it would be. Ford are getting hit from all angles. You've got the UAW saying that Ford is not coming to the party. Ford needs to increase wages significantly. At the same time, recalls and warranty problems for Ford, they're the worst for any car company in the world, period. And now Ford is facing, well, it's facing a lot of challenges. To put it nicely, Ford's going to have a very difficult challenge over the years ahead. And I mean, Jim Farley himself even said the company could go bankrupt if it was to agree to the UAW's demands. Well, Ford recently said it will slow production of the electric F-150 Lightning, and according to Executive Chair Bill Ford, who makes an insane amount of money, I think he makes about as much as Jim Farley, the CEO, and I'm not sure what he actually does at the company. This is in part because of how politicized electric vehicles have become in the United States. It's not about the actual quality of the vehicle, it's about politics, he says. All the signs were positive when orders of the F-150 Lightning kicked off in early 2022. Indeed, Ford only took 6 months to get 200,000 reservations, so many it had to stop taking reservations. It reopened them, and I believe got up to maybe 250,000 reservations. That was as early as June this year. Ford said it would triple production of the truck by the end of 2023. However, earlier this week, Ford confirmed it is actually going to slow production, blaming supply chain disruptions and quality checks. Quality checks. During a recent interview with the New York Times about the firm's ongoing contract negotiations with UAW, Bill Ford said that a line is now forming between blue and red states when it comes to EVs. Now, this isn't entirely factual, but this is what he believes. EV sales are still up 50% this year, so sales are growing very fast, but we've also seen a politicization of electric cars, he said. Blue states say EVs are great, and we need to adopt them as soon as possible for climate reasons. I don't think it's just for climate reasons. This guy's clearly got his head buried in the sand. I mean, the climate reasons are good, but I think it's far more important to do what the World Health Organization does and try to recognize when obvious things are causing us cancer, right? The World Health Organization says that pollution from cars, trucks and cars, road transport, is causing millions of deaths every year and millions of cancers. And I can tell you, living with cancer is horrendous. I don't have it, but as you all know, someone in my house does, and it's horrible watching it. Just seeing it, it's hard to deal with emotionally. So I think Bill just hasn't had this happen to him, and he's clearly unaware that this does happen. We can prevent this. A lot of this situation we can prevent. We can improve people's health outcomes and life outcomes drastically by moving to EVs quicker. It's not just about saving the climate, saving the world. I mean, that's all fine, that's all well and good, but actually it's much more closer to home for a lot of people than that. Anyway, he said, some of the red states say this is just like the vaccine, and it's being shoved down our throat by the government, and we don't want it. I never thought I would see the day when our products were so heavily politicized, but they are. Now, my takeaway from this is that ultimately he's saying he doesn't really agree with electric cars in general. That would make sense because Ford loses around $30,000 on every electric car they sell. They make, a few $1,000s on every gasoline-powered car they sell. So it makes sense to try and hold on to the past as long as you possibly can. Probably not a good business decision, though. Bloomberg says that the rhetoric from President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are very different. Whereas Biden is promoting EVs heavily with the aim of them accounting for 50% of new car sales by 2030, Trump recently slammed EVs and claimed that in the future, they will all be manufactured in China. In the long run, Bill Ford doesn't seem too concerned, noting that the prices of EVs will continue to fall as the car manufacturer introduces its second generation of electric vehicles. And I believe he's got a point here. Ford's second generation of EVs will probably take a big leapfrog over General Motors because Ford are planning on doing some things that make sense. Building their own battery factory to produce lithium iron phosphate chemistry, battery-powered cells, is a great decision, and it will reduce their warranty recalls. CATL's LFP cells that are in Tesla battery packs have had excellent reliability. This would be really, really good for Ford because they seem to just keep having recall upon recall upon recall. With our first generation EVs, the Lightning and the Mustang Mach-E, they were done with a lot of internal combustion engineering in them, he said. The next generation, which will start coming quite quickly, was developed with a clean sheet of paper. When you do that, you can really start taking cost out, and then you can start pricing them accordingly. I think he's correct here 100%, but it's interesting to see him say this, right? To admit to saying they were built with a lot of internal combustion engineering in them. And I'm curious to know whether or not Ford watched any of Sandy Munro's videos when he critiqued some aspects of Ford's electric vehicle production or what they actually did. Now, I think they did a decent job for a first generation series of vehicles. But, of course, there can be some pretty big improvements. Ford admit that, and they're working to achieve that. I think that's a really good thing. Now, hopefully, Ford is not the last person in the forest. Generally, the last runner, the slowest runner, gets eaten by the bear. Hopefully, that's not Ford. I don't think it will be. There's other companies like Mazda and Subaru that don't even care about electric cars at all and aren't taking them even remotely seriously. So it's more than likely they'll get eaten up first. But Ford definitely does have to consider the reality here. A significant percentage of the automotive industry is moving to China. They've got to get a move on. Otherwise, they will continue to lose car sales outside of North America to the Chinese. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.